The steady rumble of the train and its gentle swaying were the last things Sarah noticed before drifting off to sleep. It had been a draining day, the sort that made any brief pause feel like a call to rest. The train was crowded with tired travelers, their expressions weighed down by exhaustion. Sarah hardly paid them any attention as she settled into her window seat, hugging her well-used handbag tightly against her chest. Within moments, her eyelids fluttered, and she drifted into unconsciousness. What she didn't realize was that somewhere in her slumber, her head had gently tipped onto the shoulder of the man sitting beside her. James. The stranger in question glanced down at her with an amused smile. He was a businessman used to a fast-paced life and solitude. It wasn't every day a stranger unknowingly leaned on him for comfort. His initial instinct was to nudge her awake. But something about her exhausted face stopped him. He let her rest, feeling an unfamiliar sense of warmth spread through him. As the train rumbled on, he continued scrolling through his phone, pretending not to notice the quiet, trusting weight against his shoulder. Hours passed. The station announcements crackled through the speakers, and Sarah stirred. She blinked herself awake, confused by the unfamiliar sensation of warmth against her cheek. The realization hit her instantly. She had been asleep on a stranger's shoulder. Embarrassment surged through her. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," she stammered, sitting upright. Her face turned a deep shade of red. James chuckled softly, waving off her apology. "It's okay. You looked like you needed it." Still flustered, Sarah fumbled with her bag, her heart hammering. Thank you," she mumbled, trying to avoid his gaze. But James wasn't looking at her anymore. He had turned his attention to the overhead luggage rack, pulling down a sleek black briefcase. As he opened it, Sarah's eyes flickered to the contents inside: neatly stacked papers, a laptop, and an envelope resting on top. A name caught her attention, printed in bold letters on the envelope: Sarah Montgomery. Her breath hitched. That was her name. She froze. How do you know my name?" James exhaled, choosing his words carefully. "I was going to wake you when I saw your name on your work ID peeking out of your bag," he admitted. Then after a pause, he added, "And I realized something else." He hesitated before handing her the envelope. "This is for you." With shaky fingers, Sarah took it and slowly opened it. Inside was a letter, neatly written in careful strokes. As she read, her heart pounded against her ribs. "Dear Sarah, you don't know me, but I know you. Not personally, but through your kindness years ago. When I was at my lowest, you changed my life. You volunteered at a shelter I once stayed at, offering not just food but warmth and hope. You treated us like we mattered when the world had forgotten us. I never forgot that. Life took a turn for me. I got back on my feet, worked hard, and now I want to pass on the kindness you once showed me. This check is for you. It's not charity, it's gratitude. I hope it helps in whatever way you need. Thank you for being the kind of person the world needs more of. Sincerely, a stranger who is grateful." Sarah's hands trembled as she reached inside and pulled out a check. The amount written stunned her. $150. Tears filled her eyes. She could barely speak. I don't understand," she whispered, looking up at James, her vision blurred. James smiled gently. "A long time ago, a girl with a kind smile handed me a warm meal and told me I still had worth. That girl was you." Her eyes widened in shock. You knew my name because of my work ID?" she asked. He nodded. "I was homeless then. Now I own my own company. I never forgot what you did for me. When I saw your name, I knew this was my chance to say thank you." Sarah's heart swelled. She had volunteered at many places, offered many meals, given words of encouragement. She had never expected anything in return. But now, years later, kindness had come full circle. Tears spilled onto her cheeks as she looked at the check again. She had been struggling, working 2 jobs, barely making ends meet, and now this. "You don't have to do this," she said, her voice shaking. James simply nodded. "I want to." In that moment, Sarah realized something profound. The smallest acts of kindness could ripple through time, touching lives in ways she never imagined. As she looked at the man who had once been lost but had now found his way, she felt something shift within her, hope renewed and unstoppable. As the train eased to a stop at the next station, James rose and gave her a warm nod before stepping off onto the platform. Sarah watched him vanish into the crowd, holding the letter tightly against her heart. She knew her life had been forever altered, not by wealth, but by an act of unexpected and profound kindness. In that moment, she made a silent promise to continue the chain of compassion.